You know where you are!
This is Appetite for Distortion.
Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode number 407. My name is Brando. With me, it's been a while, all the way from the Netherlands. I'm glad we have the technology now. Remco, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Brando. First of all, 40, what did you say?
407.
Episode 7.
Remember-
Episode 1.
I'm trying to think, because you were on a couple back in the day, but I can't remember. It's like it's
No, of course not. No, we were talking to Carrie Kelly, Chips Enough, and I think we did one or two others. Yeah, and then I set up a few others with other fans, like Tim Tricoli, of course, and Jani from Finland.
Yes.
And right now I'm back. Yeah.
No,
And all's fine. All's fine. I just came back the other week from the GNR show in Weert, as we say it in Holland.
Weert,
the Netherlands. Yes, it's called Weert. It is Weert. So weird, maybe for you guys.
And I love doing these fan reviews, especially with you, how I just learn other parts of the world. So feel free to make fun of me when I mispronounce something. I'm not going to make fun of anything in your country. So yeah, we're going to do a Netherlands review. When I saw you post pictures and it seemed like you had a great time, and we could probably show some of these pictures if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm like, you know what? I haven't spoken to Remco in a while. And I also want to talk about the GNR news, the shotgun news. Just picture the sound by shotgun news. You know, I'm playing it because I kind of left off with a cliffhanger last time because Guns N' Roses, they are just wrapping up their European tour and they're going to visit other countries before they come to my neck of the woods, New Jersey, next month. And it left off with a interview that Duff did in a German magazine, like Ultimate. It was like a classicrock.net or something like that he did an interview, and he kind of just threw it out there. Not much unlike how Susan Holmes McKagan, when we were doing an interview about her stuff, and she randomly mentioned, oh, I've heard new Guns N' Roses music, and then it went viral and everything. And of course, I haven't heard from her since. So maybe this is a pattern where we're going to talk about how things and or people get deleted after they talk about new music. So since then, because it was maybe a few days away, I had quoted, that's what Duff had mentioned, by the end of the week. And I think I recorded it on maybe a Wednesday and it was a Saturday. Well, it's a Sunday now.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. However, we got more concrete evidence. So that was deleted, that you can't read that article anymore. However, it's the internet. It lives on. People have transcribed it. People have covered it. So it's kind of unfair to the original source to get rid of it anyway. So since then, I guess this was part of, and you've seen these videos that are now also since deleted. And you did not do the VIP package, I assume, right? When you went to the show?
No, not VIP. A kind of VIP. I went to. I had the early access tickets, so we were able to get in front. Yeah, just front row very early on, but we didn't go backstage. No.
Okay, cool. Because if you've read part of, and I spoke about it when they first started doing these VIP packages where you don't meet the band. I mean, usually with these VIP packages, there are meet and greets. There are levels of it. You can have a VIP plus. You can, sometimes it's just a quick picture. Sometimes it's a dinner with some bands. I don't expect that with Guns N' Roses, but you don't meet anybody. However, you do meet the crew and how they put together the stage all the time, every night, which is still very cool. That's why I digress there. However, there was a video posted online, and I admit it, anyone who saw the thread on Facebook, I didn't recognize who it was. Tom Mayhew, who's been their stage manager for over 3 decades. I know the name,
Yeah.
Old white guy. Sorry, Tom. And his brother, McBob, is the one that introduces Guns N' Roses that very famous way, from Hollywood, guns, and you want the best band. Well, they didn't fucking make it, that whole thing. So that's McBob, and his brother Tom Mayhew is the stage manager and has been so again for 30 years plus, maybe 35 or whatever. So there's a few recordings of him talking and him talking about kind of unsolicited too, because it's like, you can ask me questions, and he's like, go ahead, ask me. So I'm going to read some of what he said. And again, this is online, and the videos have been deleted since the morning of us recording this. So it's just, it exists no matter what you do. So Tom Mayhew said this. So I've been with the band forever. We're just getting ready to finish up this portion of our Guns N' Roses European tour, Mayhew said. And I'm reading this from Loudwire. They transcribed it, which I had also just mentioned. It's the European tour ending, and the North American tour is starting soon. And I know the band's going to start to work on new music. They've got a bunch of stuff recorded already. So we've kind of known that. And I've joked how the band is kind of like Blues Clues, where you have to find little pieces of information here and there from different interviews, transcribing them from other languages. So that's nothing new. I've said that Slash had said this maybe last year, how they're going to finish this tour and they're not going to tour for a bit and write new music. And he's since announced Slash with Miles Kennedy. So everything's to seem like it's in sync with his timeline. So Slash
that was
yet to be.
That was in January 22, I think. Yeah, early 22. So he was already talking about those songs, because I think he mentioned as well, it isn't necessary for a band right now, of course, to put out an entire album, but just put out some singles. And I think he talked a bit about Absurd and Hard School, Hard School as well.
Yeah.
But nothing happened, indeed.
The only thing that happened, I remember joking about it, where they were expecting a summer release. And that's when Use Your Illusion, the box set, came out on the very last day of summer. So I guess a year later after the anniversary, but whatever, he wasn't wrong. So you can't say that he was wrong or whatever. And I don't believe any of these people are lying. So we can say that, by the way. So he continues, Tom Mayhew. So there will be new Guns N' Roses music very soon. In fact, I think they're trying to get a single out any day now. So you may be hearing something very, very soon, which is great. So that's kind of what Duff said. Okay, so that's another person of note. This isn't just some roadie. This isn't just some fly-by-night stage manager just hired this year. This is a guy who's been with the band, who knows in the lay of the land. I feel like he wouldn't speak out of turn. And we'll talk about that after. He goes on, because everyone asks, like, oh, is this just going to be Chinese leftovers? Is it going to be like Absurd, like a Hard School? That's another discussion, which we've had before. If it's new, it's new. I don't think it matters when it was written. Like, it hasn't been made available publicly yet. So then you want to argue the word new. And I think that's a whole other conversation.
Well, but I do believe he said they sound a bit more Appetite for Destruction like.
So yeah, he said it's a lot more Appetite oriented. And see, I want to ask you this, because you know more than me. They had a lot of songs when the band went in originally and recorded Appetite for Destruction. I think they had recorded like 29 songs. So there's a bunch of other music that was left over that didn't make the first record. So that's new information, right?
Kinda, yeah. It surprised me, because I actually think a lot of those demos ended up in the Appetite Locked and Loaded box set. So I don't believe there's that much material from that period that they actually are going to release right now. But then again, he did say it was Appetite. It did sound a bit like Appetite. So maybe they changed up the Chinese democracy demos that just are laying there. Axel didn't do anything with them other than the Chinese album. Maybe Slash and Duff, made it sound more like Appetite. I think that's what actually is going to happen. Song titles that are going around right now are, of course, Perhaps and The General.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that these songs got revamped by Slash and Duff and got new sounds on it, new guitars, new bass, maybe even some new drums by Frank. And yeah, obviously, the three of them sound more Appetite than just Axel on the Chinese records.
Sure, and I think that's what it was going to sound like too. You're taking Chinese democracy and Axel's where he was musically and motivated at that point, and putting now Duff and Slash on, and that's where you get hard school, you get absurd. But it just sounds like Tom was saying that they had a lot of stuff recorded at that time that they never used. So, and you mentioned the box set. So, are you going to see something like New Work Tune, the Plague, things that were just instrumentals that fans were once complaining about, that were the only extras, this minute of a cool jam, but was never anything. But now you can make that jam and turn it into something now, all these years later, which is great. All this is awesome news, by the way. Like, we can have these fun conversations, but the news gets turned into, I made the Blues Clues reference now, but it's like Inspector Gadget, where the chief would give Inspector Gadget like his message, like his mission for that day. And it's like, this message will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, and just like blow up. So they keep deleting things. And I don't know what that's helping. It's one thing if you try to scrub it off the internet, and I've had these discussions with my podcast where maybe almost right away people are like, oh, I forgot I said that, can you edit that out? Or after we recorded, please don't post that, things like that. But when you have this, the Tom Mayhew videos being taken down, which my only guess, you can tell me your thoughts, did he know he was being recorded? Like, did this video taken by somebody in the VIP where you're meeting people like that? I mean, it looks like he's not hiding hiding the camera. So did he know he's being recorded saying these things? And then it gets deleted, or did the person, you mentioned, sorry, I want to give you credit though, before we started recording, you mentioned maybe the person deleted it on their own. It's not even managed. So that's even up for the discussion.
Yeah, or maybe, and I can understand them asking not to film it, and it was recorded, behind the back or anything. No idea. I couldn't see him look directly into the camera, so I'm not sure. The things he said, some were very cool news items, and of course immediately we knew, okay, this will be on I don't know, Blabbermouth or anywhere, because it really is news. And actually I expected last Friday to maybe a single to be dropped, but maybe next Friday or when the US tour starts, we don't know.
I know.
The thing is, and I do understand what you say, the Inspector Gadget reference. Of course, they don't control the information at that point. So when someone's saying something about the recordings, maybe they make clear appointments to altogether not to do so. I have no idea, because you also saw it with I don't know, Scandinavian studio who had Axel and Slash as visitors, just listening to some tunes. We all knew, okay, that might be the next single or a new song. But that got deleted as well. And they told on their Instagram, I think, that they were asked to delete it.
Oh, they did say that after? Okay. And the biggest proof is what I said, and I always let people behind the curtain because none of this is. We're not giving out missile codes here. I'm not putting out the music. I'm not stealing anything. We're talking about what's actually happening. So I had messaged. I didn't want to message the person that posted these Dom Mayhew videos because it's just a regular person, and they probably don't want all that attention. They're probably just a Guns N' Roses fan that caught this on camera. But with the studio, I'm like, okay, does anyone want to come on the podcast? And I preface it always because of situations like this. I'm not asking for any dirt for you to tell me exactly what happened. Just tell me about the experience. Was Axel nice? What shirt was Slash wearing? Just tell me about the history of your studio. And they agreed right away. And they gave me the email. We can figure out a time. And the next day, I'm sorry, we can't do any interviews about this.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens? But it's already out there. That photo is already out there. So I already made a meme of it. Sorry about Axel's nips because he was excited or it was cold in the studio. Either way. Oh, by the way, speaking of studio, so people know because it's so hot here in Queens, New York. I'm currently wiping myself with a bandana that I got from my first Guns N' Roses show, 2002 Guns N' Roses. And that's what it feels like nowadays. It feels like we're in the Chinese democracy days where we're waiting for something to happen.
Oh, that's a nice one, a rare one. You don't see that one too much.
Yeah, with the Chinese star, the star and the GNR kind of like Chinese lettering. And I might start rocking it this summer because protect my bald head from sweating in my eyes. But yeah, it feels, and I've seen this comment a lot. It could be looked at as a bad thing or a good thing. It's kind of like Chinese democracy era now. It's like something's coming. When's it coming? Is it ever coming? It's never coming. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel about what's to come?
I don't know if soon is the word.
Right.
No, of course it's. I do expect a song or two to be released this summer.
Me too.
And I think there's also, and that's funny, the Spotify Inspector Gadget fans who surfed on Spotify typed in the general and then space G, and then not the song title the general shows up, but Guns N' Roses, the artist, show up. And exactly the same thing happened back in when was it? A few years ago when Absurd, I think, was released. Exactly the same thing. I think it was Hard School or something, and G, and then Guns N' Roses showed up. So the general might be one.
You got to respect those Guns N' Roses sleuths out there. And I remember, I think we spoke about it at the time, where it's not like you're typing something into Google or Twitter and it's something that people search all the time. It's not that kind of algorithm with Spotify. You're typing something that there is programming for lack of better. Someone smarter than me can verbalize better. But so it's another, again, Blues Clues kind of situation. But let me ask you before we kind of transition to just the fun of it all, the time that you had at a concert. How do you feel though as a fan? Because you see frustration out there. And I did type before when I shared the video, watch it now because it's going to be deleted. And it actually took maybe a day or two longer than I thought because Loudwire and some other Ultimate Guitar managed to put out articles about it and transcribing it. But there are fans that are frustrated. It's like you give us a breadcrumb, but you take it away. Like why? So, but there are others that, oh, don't worry, it's coming. Relax. This is the band. This is how they are. How do you feel at this point?
Well, I don't believe this actually is the band, or because Duff was talking about it like it was just a fact. So maybe people around the band, management or marketing has some plans. We don't know. But then again, I'm 30 plus years fan. Well, maybe now, 30 plus years, I think. I get some or Brett. Now, how do you say it?
Say that one more time. You cut out a little bit.
Oh, you said something like we are given a bread crumb.
Oh, a breadcrumb.
I think.
Yeah.
And taking it back. Only thing I could hope for is that they're using all the crumb to make a nice toast out of it or something. That's no, being a fan for over 30 years, I'm not frustrated. If these kind of news items will frustrate me, then I think I stopped being a fan 25 years ago or something. Then again, I did, when I was at the concert last week, was talking to some other fans, and it is longer than the Chinese Democracy album came out. That's this new album, if there is going to be a new album. It took this one longer than the Chinese album. So that's that's kind of weird. But then again, they're fully touring, of course, still.
Right. That I was just about to say. The opposite back then is that if they toured or did a show, you didn't know if it would be canceled or there would be a riot. Like, that's why it was so hard. I just remember feeling how lucky I was to even get Guns N' Roses tickets to that 2002 show, which I was lucky because the whole tour was canceled the next night. With the
next night,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
remember going to, I had tickets for that European tour as well, but that got canceled. I did see them in Belgium the year before or somewhere around the same year. There was some weird phase of the band. Yeah.
Here's a little, and I'll continuously bring them up when it makes sense, when it's a Doug nugget of the Never to Be Released book. I've been putting some on Twitter whenever I see a certain phrase and I'm like, he wrote about that in the book, or a certain subject. I'm like, oh, he talked about it here. Let me share. So Doug took, according to him, he took blame for the cancellation of the 2002 European tour only because he didn't want Axl to take the blame. And here's what happened. Axl goes to him and he's like, it was like after Rock in Rio 2001. He's feeling good. He had been rehearsing with the band. He's like, I think we should take this out on tour. And Doug's like, really? Okay. So he books a tour. I forget the timeline now, but maybe a few months after, Axl sees news about it. And he's like, he calls Doug, what the fuck is this? It's like, what do you mean? Those are the European dates that you asked for. I didn't ask for any dates. One of those situations happened. So, and Doug's like, you know what? Fine. And he's like, as a manager, because I'm in one of his quotes is, I'm in the interest of selling Guns N' Roses tickets, not Doug Goldstein tickets. He would have said that a lot in his Never to Be Released book, is that he's like, you know what? Let them hate me and not hate Axl. So he's like, I'll take the blame. So that's the story behind the European 2002 cancellation. So, but everything you said, you're right. If you're frustrated at this point and the news that's coming out is good, I'd rather this news come out rather than some sort of infighting between the band, which there doesn't seem to be at all.
Actually, the one thing again about the cancellation of that European tour back in the day, I think the press release that followed was saying that Buckethead was ill, so that's why they couldn't go on tour. So the entire Doug Goldstein mention came years later when Axl went on my GNR forum where he explained a bit about this. So that part of the story just came years and years later.
Gotcha. Yeah. The timeline of this band is so difficult.
Yeah.
So that's why I admire anybody who tries to put this together, in print and in podcast form. So let's talk about something a little less frustrating, because I am excited to see this band, new music or not. Maybe they'll have a new single by the time I see them August, I don't know, it's like 24th or something, because I'm seeing Metallica in a couple weeks in the same the stadium. My second time and my wife's first time, actually. So I got Metallica. What is this? This is Friday, August 4th. and I'm going to see air quote Pantera with opening, which I'm excited for. Pantera. So I know some people want to say air quote. Then GNR is Tuesday, August 15th. So I'm excited. And I posted the other day, and we'll talk about the set list you saw. Bad Obsession, I want to see. Pretty Tied Up. I've never, ever seen those live.
No.
And they've been adding There Was a Time, Twat, and Prostitute into the set list. I would like those as well for my show. So tell me, please, Remco, tell me about your show in Weert.
Okay. Well, it was back July 11th. Was it 11th? Yeah. Last Tuesday in Weert. And it was a very, very hot day. No, I'm just making a real big story out of it right now. Okay. This is
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. No, and it was very, very hot weather. But I had this early access ticket. So I arrived, well, pretty early on. We could hear the sound check, which was a kind of a weird sound check. Bad Obsession was played twice, the entire song. And I think we heard Anything Goes, It's So Easy, and Estranged, little part of Patience. And then we moved to the stage. And the luck we had being so early was that for hours, we were able to stand in the shadow of the stage. So we didn't have the sun on our heads at that moment, because I think that would have, not killed anyone, but I'm pretty sure people would have passed out, because later on, because of the heat, during the show, we saw so many people brought out and up to the front, because they just passed out. It was, of course, the weather. And I've been to front row shows at Guns a lot of times. I never saw this happening this often. But anyway, first we had the Pretenders, which was a very cool thing to see. Second time I saw them opening for Guns, and it's unbelievable. Chrissy Hines, I think she's 71 or 72 and still rocking it. Sweat on her face, her makeup on her chin because of it, but she still rocked it. And she played, and it was fun mentioning. She did 2 songs, especially for the first one for Slash, because he liked that Pretender song so much. Can't remember which one, but the second one was especially for Axel, because the Stand By Me. No, not Stand By Me. I stand by you.
Okay.
Axel loved that one, so that's why she played it, and she mentioned it. And then, well, I think 30 minutes or so went by, and we were expecting them to come on in 45 minutes, and then we saw this helicopter just over the field, landing very close to the VIP section. And from what we've heard, Axel walks out of the helicopter, went to the backstage, obviously had his microphone and things, and went straight into It's So Easy. So that was fun. Seeing him again. My first show was in 1993 in Nijmegen, also in the Netherlands. They also arrived by helicopter back then. So it was a nice one. And It's So Easy went just like as if he was practicing vocal cords for hours in front of backstage. But he just arrived, and within minutes he was on stage. So I think that's a very how to say it. Yeah, that's good work. Then you definitely are good at work, as we say.
That reminds me of when CM Punk, the wrestler, was on the podcast. He told a similar story, and this was during the Bumblefoot era of GNR. When he saw them in Chicago, he's like, Axel just he wasn't there. Nobody was panicking, and then apparently he just came on a helicopter and just walked right onto the stage. He's like, that was just cool. The fact that he's still doing it is rock and roll. Is rock and roll, man.
Oh, it is, and of course, there's a lot of criticism about his voice, and I sometimes read that as well. In all honesty, over the entire concert, there are, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 out of the 26 songs that I doubt if he's using his voice in a good way, good enough for that song. That's me. For instance, "You Could Be Mine." I think he sings it in a high, very clean pitch, and he still managed to reach those high notes. But it's, yeah, of course, it doesn't sound like the raw, the raspy Axel. Of course, we all want to hear. But then again, when you go to listen to Bad Obsession, it's so easy. Also, by the way, the Pretty Tied Up, you did a very good job on that one. Night Train, some parts of Live and Let Die. It was amazing. I honestly think he sounded best since years. I wasn't at the European tour last year, but I went for several concerts in 2017, 18, and I honestly believe that at the moment, this tour, he's more in shape and even singing even better than back in those years. So I was surprised, and in a good way, about those first songs. And then we got some surprises as well, because, well, of course, Anything Goes was on the set list for this entire tour. So now I can say I heard every single song live from the Appetite album.
Okay.
Yeah. That's I managed to hear those all of those live right now. But we did get My Michelle as an extra song that
That's right.
Frank wanted to do that song. They don't play that song that too much right now. And I also Better, of course, and Street of Dreams. And those two, I think sounded better back during the Bumblefoot years. But hey, it was a nice surprise, because we didn't expect those songs to be on the set list.
Mm-hmm. Those are all fair and honest opinions, and that's what I encourage everyone to do on this podcast. I shine towards a more positive light, because I have arguments with people online about his voice, or it's what's really starting to anger me is the physical appearance. And he looks and sounds fine for someone who's 61 years old. But yeah, if we're having fun here, we can break it down where his voice, yeah, the way he sings at 61 is going to be very difficult to sing certain songs, but he's out there doing it. He's out there, and it's what rock and roll is. You're not out there watching an opera. There's supposed to be mistakes. I've seen listeners comment, I'm like, Slash made a mistake tonight. I can't tell, because I'm not a musician or a guitarist. I remember, I think I brought up this quote before when I had Mark Rivera from Billy Joel's band on. He's like, I make a mistake every night. And this is somebody who he's with Billy Joel. Like he's a world-class musician. And this is what happens in the throat wear. And I'm seeing a lot of articles about other musicians where they have to cancel a show because of the weather. It's high altitude. It's too hot. I mean, you don't know what he's dealing with that day vocally. It's not like Slash or Duff picking up their instrument, and their instrument should still be. I know things happen, but it should still be working. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's not like Axel's had those moments where he's lost his voice, or it's just, it bothers me when people take one clip or an out of focus picture or a Photoshop picture to use that as an example of what Axl Rose is today. If you go to the show, like, tell me the truth. Do you have a good time at the show? Would you tell people to go? Would you encourage people to go?
100%. And actually, I was not. I got a bit. I know there's a lot of people focusing on this point, on this subject a lot, but that's on the forums or the Discord servers where I'm around, because there's a big fan base over there. But then again, I got carried away a bit right now, because I always say you have to go to the show to experience how and enjoy such a good 3-hour long set. So I'm not that negative at all. And maybe I focused a bit too early in my story about those songs. But I mentioned it because I wanted to say, in general, in 3 hours of songs, we got a great rock show. We had so many full guitar solos, and yeah, of course, maybe Slash made a mistake, but that's I play myself play in theaters a lot, not comparing anything to Guns N' Roses, but every night I know if there's a mistake, it makes me a bit more sharp, even better for the rest of the show. So I don't even care if they do make a mistake. If I don't want to hear a mistake, I'll put on an album. The experience of such a live show is amazing, and for me, even the best experience is front row. So most of my GNR shows I've been front row, because I feel like I'm really into the excitement the most, and into the show the most. So I was actually talking about those songs and stopped talking about those songs where I didn't like his voice myself, only to say that it's 4 or 5 songs compared to 25 others, and most of the show was great. He was in good shape. He was like high kicking. He was running around Axel, but also Slash, also Duff. So I think the band at this age performing this way is very, very rock and roll.
And it's fine. I want you to mention, because I don't want people to come on here and just spit nothing but glowingness, because that's not reality. Because there are songs that I would prefer another Velvet Revolver song. I don't think Axl sounds great on Slither. I'm happy he's doing it. I enjoy watching it. But while you are right, when you go on the forums or just on the fan sites or my site, and those are the hyper, well, we're the biggest Guns N' Roses fans. If you're seeking out a forum, and this is the level of conversation that we have. But unfortunately, I also have TikTok. And I primarily just use TikTok to share my YouTube videos, but sometimes you just can't help but get sucked down the rabbit hole of TikTok videos, which are just so stupid. I really try to have my algorithm just be Guns N' Roses, cats, and like wrestling. I really do. But when I go on a Guns N' Roses, and it's usually by some maybe I'm old enough to say this, some millennial, somebody who hasn't seen Guns N' Roses live, picking apart how Axl sings. He sings like a cartoon. And yeah, I could, if I had no life, I can go back and forth with this person online and defend Axl like some white knight, like I need to do that. But I just say, hey, you know what? I enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed every single Guns N' Roses show I've ever been to, and I can't wait to go again. And if they're negative, they're like, oh, I'm sure you were blindfolded and I had earplugs on. Yeah, that's a weird way to go to a concert. Sure, that's what I did. I enjoyed the show. If you want to pick it apart like a sport, break it down, have some sort of blackboard, X's and O's and circle and pick things apart. If that's the life you want to live, fine. But I am so happy that they're touring. It's going to be really interesting, since this band not only doesn't give you news, the news it gives you, it takes away. That when they do stop when they do stop touring this time around, like Slash said, like Tom Mayhew said, what are we going to be waiting for? Are we going to be like, is Guns N' Roses over? Are we expecting new music? Because we're going to have no definitive statement, I'm assuming, just based upon the past. So we have stuff to talk about, though. This is exciting. This is all just, we're playing. I've heard this phrase. We're playing in a sandbox right now. We're having fun. If they ever get that negative, it just doesn't need to happen. But again, be honest about it. If you don't like certain things, that's okay. You don't need to be a GNR Axel apologist to be on the show.
No, of course, but I heard you say something interesting as well. But a friend of mine saw them during the European tour as well, and was talking to Fernando a bit, and he actually said, "Don't expect them back in Europe for quite a while. That might be because of Slash's solo album. That probably will be coming around. Duff is having a solo album, of course, and maybe because GNR themselves are going to record something. So that's all a lot of questions. And with the three of them releasing different stuff, or the three, Slash and Duff releasing their own stuff as well, everything will have to be planned, because no, I wanted to say, because you have to have an album and tour at the same time, but that's not the way GNR is going to do
I know.
it. They'll drop songs, albums, but they always have done it this way. I remember, of course, the 1991 tour, the Use Your Illusion tour started before the albums were released. So that's just their way.
That's just GNRB and GNR. And
yeah,
this is just like a hypothetical dreaming of what I'm trying to get into Axel's psyche. I can only think that he's doing these 3.5 hour shows where he puts his voice out there. I really think he wants to cram as much good times with this band that he went without for so long with Slash. I think he wants to like savor every moment, because he knows he can't do this forever. I mean, is he going to be singing "It's So Easy" when he's 70? Which is like,
will it be that easy?
It won't be. I can't imagine it being that easy. It's different when you're singing that at that age. It's difficult, and perhaps, I guess, pun intended, that he wants to focus on a tour, his voice being in shape now, and that break. Okay, now I can just focus on music. Maybe he needs to balance it. Maybe he can't do both. Maybe, and that's why he's like, you know what? Here's absurd. This is what you get when you. I don't know. This is just, again, speculation, but at least this is all this, as we mentioned earlier. You've been with this podcast listening since episode 1. We've had quite a few conversations, and that was just before the reunion, when we didn't know if they would break up any day now. So we're in a good place. We're still in a really good place with this band. It's frustrating when they give us something, they delete it, but they're our favorite band. This is what they do.
And you have to say, the band is in a good position as well. They enjoy performing so much, because they were laughing more than I've ever seen. The interaction between Slash, Duff, and Axel was pretty cool. But for most, the Axel was, during most of the show, was very, very happy. One moment where he wasn't happy, there was when right before Night Train, he got he had this. Of course, he had his horns. You know, he used this the remote to use the horns. That wasn't working. So the big horns right in front of us. We were already standing with our fingers in our ears. That one wasn't working, and actually, I saw the panic in the co-worker who was standing, who had one job, let the horns work, and it was complete panic. And I saw Gio, the actual head of security, was just shaking his head. It was like, oh no, you can't be serious. But then Axel smiled again, because he said, no worries, I have a backup. And he took this, I don't know, set of horns that he could keep in his hands, handheld horns, and use that one.
Oh, that's
So that
brilliant.
was cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's very cool. You saw that. And
Yeah.
as you're telling me that story, I'm envisioning it was one of the best Simpsons episodes where Peter, I think it was Peter Frampton was trying to fire a pig when they went to Lollapalooza, and then
Okay.
he couldn't because Homer messed with it. Like it was supposed to be a pig that supposed to be like fire out of a cannon, but Homer used it for his freak show. Something I haven't seen that episode in a long time. But anyway, no, that's it, and I don't think it was at your show. And if you wouldn't mind just showing us some pictures,
Of course.
do I have to give you permission? Have I not done that yet? Or the
No
sharing
idea.
screen? Because there was, I forget
Yeah.
which.
No, you have to give me your permission.
How do I do that? I want to. I wish I remember what show it was at, but there were fans in the front row, allowed to record local files. Damn you! Why is this not working? I should have tried this before. But there were fans in the front row that were wearing dolphin helmets,
Yeah.
dolphin heads, and
It was not at my show, but it was earlier on.
okay, and I think I did share the thing correctly, so you can share screens.
Okay.
Then you see Axel kind of put his arm around Slash during Estranged and point them out in the front row. So kudos to those gunners out there, but with the dolphin heads. Ooh, a lot of photos.
Yeah. Of course.
Did you share any of these on your Instagram?
A couple.
Okay.
Here's the Pretenders, of course. Before you can see it.
Yeah, I can. And I'm excited to see the Pretenders, so it's cool to see this. Well, I do admit that I would love to see Alice in Chains because I've never seen them.
Oh, cool.
But I've never seen the Pretenders either, so I'm not going to complain.
Okay. Well, okay. There's a lot of Pretenders, and here the new. You see the because I'm
their
using it
background,
cool.
their back screen.
Yeah, the background is very cool. Yeah, and it's weird. Here's Axel in a helicopter.
And there's the helicopter. Do people and everyone's saluting it with the metal horns. They know. We all know it's Axel.
Yeah, and there you see the horns.
Wow, you're so close, man.
This is it's so easy, I think. So won't use any of the videos, but here's some very cool close-up pictures. And this is a nice one, I think.
Beautiful sky.
Yeah. This when the sun was coming. Well, as you could see it was behind the stage, so we were in the shadows. And this was the moment where it just lined up Slash a bit more. And here's Chinese democracy. A lot of photos.
What do you think of Axel's switch in pants and shoes? I don't think I've spoken about that on the important topic of that, going from cowboy boots to the Axel high tops. I say, damn. I mean, maybe that's why he's falling because he hasn't worn sneakers in a while. But
I don't know. I'm not the one to talk fashion.
I know. I'm like half naked here. It's so hot. It's so hot here.
Here's I shared this one, a backslash.
A backslash.
Yeah, of course. Funny.
And before we forget, shout out your Instagram so people could check out some of these photos.
Remco GNR. There's Remco GNR. And
Remco GNR. Look how close you are, man.
Yeah, it was a high stage. That was because of it was a festival stage. 2 days before it, there was a festival. And here's Slash speaking. This is a nice one as well.
It looks like Slash is just watching Axel play piano.
Wait before his solo, and here it is. I could try. I'm not sure if
you can mute it. I don't hear it, but it's cool to see it in motion.
You don't
anyway.
hear it. Okay.
Well, we're watching the rainfall on the screen, so that's a cool thing to watch. Anyway.
Yeah. It's the screen was the effects and the new visions on the screen were nice as well. And this one, this is the lithograph
Oh, wait, what, can you explain that what the lithograph is? Like
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
okay.
It's called it's a painting. I'm not sure who painted it. A Dutch painter, the Bokkenrijders, and it's something like those goats. They have this very mythical story in this area actually of the where the show was. Um, there's a famous Dutch story, and it was used, and there's a famous painting about that as well, and this artist used that, so that's a fun one. And of course, let me show you last few
Very cool. I mean,
pictures of
yeah, I like that with the Guns N' Roses
yeah,
banner. Again,
yeah,
all on the screen. People have like, oh, what's going on with the pyro? But I think this is probably just so much more safe and
yeah,
cost effective, and they do a great job. I think it's like UK Creations that does these.
yeah, yeah,
They have a great stage show. They really do. And Axel's out there using the entire stage, and look at Axel
yeah,
with the double guitar.
yeah,
Melissa in the backgrounds. I mean, just awesome, man.
yeah.
And how many
The
friends
only
did you
thing
go
is,
with? How many friends did you go with?
no, I actually met my friends at the show itself, so I didn't go to the show with friends this time. I've been touring with my brother as well, or touring, visiting several shows during the 2017 and 18 European tours. We went to 4 different countries or so. But this time I just went by myself. But I
Oh,
met, of course, met a lot of people that I know from the Guns shows. So we already talked in WhatsApp groups.
love it.
Okay, where are you and how early did you go, and etc.
Oh, I love that, man. I love the family feel that this fan base has. We may
Yeah.
be a tortured fan base, but we're loyal and we care about each other.
Oh, of course. And I do have to say I know a lot of those people from the Buckethead tour period even. Yeah.
The
So
Buckethead tour. Wow.
yeah, I saw Buckethead with Guns in Belgium. I can't remember if it was 2001 or 2002. Anyways, and from then on, I keep on meeting people, and
Oh, what?
sometimes going to solo shows as well,
Okay.
Slash or Bumblefoot or other.
What about that? This wasn't at your show. This, I guess, was in Rome when Axel did the Buckethead reference, where he took
Yeah,
out kind of like a gladiator helmet, and he said this was a gift from Buckethead back in the
yeah,
day. I mean, I don't know. I know it's just a silly casual mention, but he mentioned Buckethead in like a loving story on stage. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that's so.
That's cool. Yeah,
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 that
that
is
was
cool.
cool. And I wonder if he brought it especially for that show because it was in Rome,
Yeah.
a gladiator, the place for the gladiators
Wow.
helmet to be worn.
God,
But
you all like yours. Everyone has a great stadium to see Guns N' Roses in. I just, again, the fact that they're playing in MetLife Stadium where the Jets and Giants play football. I'm just like, I don't know. It's in New Jersey. You may not know. New Jersey is. I'm sorry. You want to
mhm.
call me an arrogant New Yorker, but New Jersey is, it's not that pretty. Like it's.
I just finished watching Spider-Man 2, the 2000s, I don't know, 2 version. So I know your New York.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, New York has
but
like, at least we have like, we can look at buildings, tall buildings, but New Jersey, there's nothing around there. It's just you get the Rome Coliseum, and I
yeah,
see. Oh, I'm so jealous of anyone who's seen them at a Slane Castle.
yeah,
Just they're a friggin' castle. Oh,
yeah.
anyway, so that's why I love doing these reviews with you, Remco, and Guns N' Roses fans around the world.
And
I don't know if you.
as we
Yeah.
speak, they're playing at how to say it, Bucharest in an oh no, that's the national arena as well. I thought they were playing at a nice venue there. But right now they're in, as far as I can see, they're knocking on heaven's door the moment we're talking right now.
I enjoy all the fans that update us from around the world, whether they're videos or people who tweet the set list. It's like the middle of the day right now, and I can enjoy a Guns N' Roses show from, thousands upon thousands of miles away. So that's the beauty of being able to talk, to be able to, the beauty part of the internet, not the garbage part of it. I'm not ready. I don't know, Remco. I am not ready to go on Threads. I still like Twitter. I still am all, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. I can't do the Threads thing. People tell me, is anyone on Threads that listens to this podcast? Would it be worth it? But anyway, it's all about connecting to GNR fans around the world. And speaking of which, I don't know if you heard that Baby Brownstone's like crying. Did you hear that?
Oh no,
okay,
no.
Yeah,
Baby Brownstone is doing fine.
Yeah, no, he's
probably hungry.
Yeah, he's hungry. He shits. He throws up. He's smiling more, which is pretty great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I will, believe me, I'll do plenty of Baby Brownstone content when it's appropriate. I want to do Baby's first time listening to Welcome to the Jungle. I want to do that.
Oh yeah. I have some
some
videos of my own daughters listening to GNR as well, sitting there I don't know, maybe 4 years old, 4 months old, in front of the TV, watching Paradise City, and the sister, 3-year-old back then, headbanging next to her. Yeah. Oh, been there, done that, and you have to do it.
Oh, I can't. I'm so excited, and I'm kicking myself. I recorded it too late. I only have 2 hands, but when I put on the Guns N' Roses lullaby, those babies go, whatever. I remember I was like, where I am now, I was holding him, he was crying, and I'm like, I guess it wasn't even necessarily thinking about Guns N' Roses. I was like, maybe classical music, something. I'm like, you know what? Let me try the lullaby thing. The first song, it was just off of YouTube, was Don't Cry, and he stopped crying. And I wish I got that transition, because I just showed him after smiling, and he literally stopped crying. I mean, I don't know. He started crying again after maybe 5 minutes later, but that was just, holy shit, this worked. This really worked. But I'm sure my wife needs help. Remco, thank you so much. Anything else you want to get out there that because I know I don't know, you do speeches and anything you want to put out there in the public for people to check out?
Oh, my Instagram, of course, Remco GNR. Maybe my website, remcognr.com. I've since over 30 years, I've collected a lot, and then started trading. Well, not trading anymore, but selling stuff to other collectors and GNR fans for quite a while right now. So I just go to remcognr.com, and maybe if you see there's something you might be interested in, let me know, and we'll figure it out.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, I love doing that. And again, I'm gonna get all the memorabilia. But sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I also got the cool memorabilia. Of course, saw the lithograph of Weert, and we also got the night VIP package for the early entrance. So there's still stuff coming in, of course, and hopefully a new record soon.
Soon is the word. You know how I'm going to end this episode in just a couple of seconds. Thanks, Remco. Thanks everyone for all the positive responses on these fan reviews that I do. It's a great opportunity to just give the fans a voice and to really express your thoughts. I know we all try to do it on social media, but here we get to have a conversation back and forth. You get to give a review. You can come on here like Remco and show your pictures. Same thing on social media. If you don't want to, because I know some are, I was talking to a French follower the other day, and forgive me for not remembering his name, but he can type really well, but he's like, I don't speak English really well. So if you're self-conscious for any reason, you can write a review, and then I could share that on my social media, and that could be your review. Just have fun with it. Remco, I think we used to toy with that name. With you were my European GNR correspondent. You did some videos for me back in the day. So I like, we're all fans. I just happened to work in radio. I happened to start a podcast. but we're all fans enjoying the same frustrating band that we've loved for so long.
Thank you for having me again, and thank you for the over 400th episode. I couldn't even imagine it be over 400.
It still
Back in the day.
boggles my mind. It really does.
Yeah.
I felt like I started it yesterday, and we're going to keep
Yeah.
continuing as far as guests to come. And it's a little difficult to schedule around baby Brownstone. Sometimes I'm holding him. Sometimes my wife's got to go in the other room to hold them, but
Yeah.
we're going to keep cranking them out. And as I always say, the conversation continues on social media, Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram. Please follow on YouTube. I'm having a lot of fun. Even when I'm not doing interviews, I'm making those YouTube shorts, those 1 minute highlights from the show, and I'm having fun with the video editing. Before this episode, I'm going to put it up soon. One with about Blind Melon with Christopher Thorne talking from episode
cool.
41. And it's fun. I'm like, I get these really good, like 1 minute bite-sized meaty clips of this person talking. Like I give you these are my interviews I did. It's not like I'm just sharing other people's stuff and making it my own thing. This is my own thing. And it's just interviews you've forgotten about. Oh, because we were talking about the general earlier. And I made a video of Brain. This was like episode like 1 something, telling us the genesis of the general was just him eating General Tso's chicken.
Yeah,
It had nothing to do with Tommy Stinson. Maybe it changed to that because that's what Axel thought. But Brain's like, no, we were just eating chicken.
Yeah.
We needed a placeholder name. So that's the kind of content you get only here on Appetite for Distortion. So that does it for this episode. When will we see the next one? In the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.